Welcome to another We Power podcast. Welcome. We invite you to join us every Saturday as we'll be dropping tips to the trade for self-help, self-improvement in all areas of life. We like to expose the passion in people as we believe one person's noble passion can be the solution to another person's problem. If you're just living life or in business or thinking of starting a business, starting a podcast, starting a ministry, or just wanting to make the world a better place, then we need you to catch every episode and be encouraged by P. Anthony. Yep, you guessed it. That's me. As we walk through life's experiences, making lemonade out of lemons. Tune in and enjoy the fruit of the Spirit. Well, welcome everyone. We'd like to once again thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for our listener support. And you can join us, or you can log on to anchor.fm/WePower and click the listener support button and support this podcast for just 99 cents a month. And we would greatly appreciate your support. We thank those who have signed up to support us. That number is growing weekly. Thank you for liking and sharing our podcast. Our numbers are continuing to go up, and we need those numbers to continue to go up. And that only happens if you like and share us. Like and share. As you know, the format of our show, we like to start out with giving thanks to God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. We make no mistake about it that we are Christians, for we believe that we're not ashamed of the gospel, for we believe that it is the power unto salvation to all who believe, first the Jews and then the Gentiles. And that means that it's available for everybody. And so we come and start our show with Thanksgiving, reading some scriptures around being thankful. And then we go into our love thought. Our love thought comes from one of our favorite books, this show, from Bob Goff, Live in Grace, Walk in Love, a 365-day journey. And we have our Something to Think About segment. Our Something to Think About segment comes from one of our favorite books, Get Motivated, Better Than Good by Zig Ziglar. And we'll be reading something out of his book for our Something to Think About. And then we'll wrap up the show with our theme topic of this show, and that is just being you. Just being yourself. Be you. Be who God created you to be. Be who you know who you are. And so we'll talk about that later in the show as well. But for now, let's kick it off with being thankful. Being thankful, we're going to pull up some scriptures that speak on being thankful for. I know if you're listening to me right now that you have something to be thankful for, to be thankful about. We'll start with Psalms 69, verse 30. I will praise God. I will praise God's name in song and glorify him with thanksgiving. Psalms 100, verses 4 and 5. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. For the Lord is good, and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. Ezra. With praise, Ezra 3:11. With praise and thanksgiving, they sang to the Lord. He is good. His love toward Israel endures forever. And all the people gave a great shout of praise to the Lord, because the foundation of the house of the Lord was laid. Psalms 35:18. I will give you thanks in the great assembly. Among the throngs, I will praise you. Psalms 9:1. I will give thanks to you, Lord, with all my heart. I will tell of all your wonderful deeds. What do you have to be thankful for? What are you thankful for? Just think about that for a moment. With everything that's going on in the world, with everything that you've experienced this past week, what do you have to be thankful for right now? Be thankful, for we are thankful. We are thankful for God's grace, and we're thankful for His mercy. Thankful for His grace, for blessing us with things we did not deserve, for blessing us with good things that, we did not deserve. And we're thankful for His mercy, from keeping us from the dangers of the things that we did deserve. For if it had not been for the Lord who was on our side, where would we be? What do you have to be thankful for right now? Be thankful. Be thankful. It's a superpower. Well, let's move right on into our next segment. And that would be, before we jump into our love thought, let's be thankful for our sponsors. Be thankful for our sponsors. Victories Insurance Agency, LLC. Give Victoria Moore a call at 317-772-3712 if you need life insurance, health insurance, or if you have questions about insurance. Give Victories Insurance Agency, LLC a call at 317-772-3712. And we would like to thank NLDM Enterprises, LLC. NLDM Enterprises, LLC. They are a licensed general contractor here in the city of Indianapolis. And they also partner with New Life Development Ministries. New Life Development Ministries, they offer training and employment in the area of construction. So they train guys in the area of carpentry, drywall, painting, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and property maintenance. And they do this with guys who have previous criminal history. They also have a youth training class. And so when you support NLDM Enterprises, LLC, you're also supporting a New Life Development Ministries training and employment program. And so you can give Jeff a call at 317-515-9746. 317-515-9746. That's NLDM Enterprises, LLC. They also have a website, NLDM-Enterprises-LLC.com. We're thankful for our sponsors. And now for our love thought for the show for this particular episode. And this love thought rolls right into the theme for our show that we'll be talking about after our Something to Think About segment. But right now, let's get buckled in for our love thought. Got a question for you. In what ways can you be more authentically yourself today? In what ways can you be more authentically yourself today? The world doesn't need a copy of someone else. It needs you. The world doesn't need a copy of someone else. It needs you. You were created. Let me back that up. You created my innermost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. Psalms 139:13. You created my innermost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. Psalms 139:13. Here's our love thought. When I was little, I had a friend with a pet parrot. I used to love going over his house after school. I had seen a lot of birds by then, but this was the only one I had seen that could talk. My friend taught his parrot some words probably that he shouldn't have. I remember standing there with my mouth open when the parrot gave me an earful. My fascination with the parrot got me thinking about what it would say if it didn't just have to repeat what other people had said. Think about it. If a parrot is smart enough to mimic the sounds of English, maybe it's smart enough to express some other original ideas. I love to get inside a parrot's head. Well, we'll never know what life looks like from the parrot's perspective, but my curiosity about the parrot's ideas made me curious about what other people think. Each person has a unique perspective they bring to the world. They have different characteristics that show us some small part of who God is. And they open our eyes to new ways of seeing when they let us in on their experience. A lot of us end up acting like parrots. Though just repeating things we hear from other people, we miss the opportunity to tell people about our unique perspective because we're too concerned with sounding like everyone else. The world doesn't need another copy of someone else. The world needs you. In what ways can you be more authentically yourself today? Well, that's our love thought. Be original. The world needs you. The world does not need another copy. That's our love thought for the day, and that again ties in with our theme, our topic of the show. Be yourself. Be who God has created you to be. Be the best you know how to be. Now let's keep it moving. Let's keep the show moving. We're going to move right into our next segment. And who can guess by now what that next segment is called? You got it right. You guessed it right. You hit the nail on the head. Our next segment is something to think about. Something to think about. And I think this is interesting in our technology age. The statistics are a little old. I would like to see what current statistics say about the habits of reading. Something to think about segment comes from a book that I like. Get Motivated, Better Than Good, Creating a Life You Can't Wait to Live by Zig Ziglar. And from my statistics, my analytics tells me that my reading or my listening audience, from that information, I would safely bet, if I was a betting man, that 90%, 95% of my listening audience right now, you are very familiar with who Zig Ziglar is. So let's jump into it. Something to think about. The topic of this particular section in his book, The Habit of Reading. The Habit of Reading. In 2004, the U.S. National Endowment of the Arts published a study, Reading at Risk, which reported that the number of Americans who read one book a year had dropped by 10% over the last 2 decades. The age group to show the largest decline in reading was the 18 to 24-year-old group, of whom 42.5% claim to have read one novel a year. These are disheartening figures. Zig Ziglar went on to say, for the past 30 years, I have read an average of 3 hours daily, seeking information that will inspire, instruct, and encourage me, so I can use that same information to inspire, instruct, and encourage others. If an average reader averaged about 220 words per minute, we'll read 20 minutes every day. If an average reader who averaged 220 words per minute will read 20 minutes every day, he or she will read 2,200 page books each year. Can you imagine the edge that would give them when it comes to the effectiveness in our knowledge-based society? For instance, Marie Watchland of Concordia University conducted research among leading high school English teachers. What she found was that 98% of them who believe biblical literacy gives students a distinct educational advantage. Just reading the Bible, being biblically literate, was an advantage that means you know what the patience of Job, the wisdom of Solomon, and the streets of gold refer to. It means you are well read, that you are familiar with the number one best-selling book in history, the book that is the basis for Western civilization. Parents can do few things more important for their children than to raise them in a home filled with great books and read those books to them. The love of reading is caught far more than it is taught. If you want your children to grow up to be readers, they need to see you reading, going to the library, getting new books in the mail from book clubs or online retailers, and frequently going to the library, going to library book sales and garage sales, looking for great, interesting books. Consider this truism. The person who doesn't read is no better off than the person who can't read. We consider ourselves a literate nation, but a literate nation of non-readers. Are we really literate? Information is exploding. Information is exploding so fast that anyone who does not read and keep up is rapidly falling behind. Remember, readers are leaders, and leaders are readers, and both experience a better than good life. Well, that's our Something to Think About segment, The habit of reading. What do you think about that? Are you a reader? Are you a reader? And what do you think about reading a book versus listening to a book? Reading a book versus listening to a book. Does that have the same effect in absorbing and retaining the information? Do you find yourself when you read a book that you retain more of the information, or do you find yourself when you're listening to an audiobook to retain more of the information? For me personally, it's good old-fashioned reading. Listening, it drops and registers in my subconscious, but oftentimes I find when I'm listening to an audiobook, my mind is often drifting and wandering other places. But when I'm listening to it in the background of doing something else, or if I've got it playing in the background while I'm doing something else, it drops into my subconscious and it somehow resurfaces when I need it. So I guess to each his own, and what works for you, embrace it. And that moves us right into our topic of today: being yourself. Be you. Be the best you who God created you to be, because nobody can beat you at being you. And as we shared in our love thought, the world does not need another copy. The world does not need another copy. The world needs you to be who God created you to be. No matter what that is. I pulled up some examples, but these are examples based upon society and based upon some negative labels that society has put out there, that we've put on people, that we may have put on ourselves. But in being who you are, if you embrace who you are with the technology, especially with the internet, if you embrace the characteristics of who you are, what you like to do, what you don't like to do, we talked about it before, your grind time. If you embrace and become an expert on you, don't allow somebody else to become an expert of you being you. You become an expert of you. You become an expert of yourself, and you embrace that. And I guarantee you, if you embrace that, if you begin to open up the world of who you are, then open up to the world of who you are by gaining an understanding, by self-educating yourself in the areas of the things that make up you, in the areas of the things that you like to do. You can just Google those things. I pulled up one here that most kids get in trouble for. The benefit of someone who likes to play games. The benefit of someone who likes to play games, video games in particular. It's showing that they have a unique ability to problem solve, to be good at solving problems. Surprisingly, social connections. They're good at establishing social connections. They have very good imaginations. And there are so many careers out there for people who like to play games. There are people out there that make a lot of money playing video games. So in the world where most of my listeners at the age that we probably grew up, playing video games for too long was not a good thing. But as the world evolves and as the world will keep evolving, this particular Google article says that there are some real strong benefits for the kids and for adults who like to play games. Now, the key to it is taking it to the next level. And being able to maximize that in which you say you like to do, being able to maximize that, who you are. Here's another one. Let's see. The benefits of being lazy. The benefits of being lazy. There's actually, if you Google it, it says there are over 31 million results about the benefits of being lazy on Google. Improved memory, greater attention span, decreased stress, decreased inflammation. So on the stem of getting enough sleep, the lack of rest can be a bad thing to your health. And so there are six scientifically proven benefits of being lazy. You can find that at fairygodboss.com. You can find that at fairygodboss.com. So back to our theme. Just being you. There's a great benefit. There's a great plus. There's a great internal good that comes from you that you can express to your immediate environment. Being you, and then identify the benefits of being you. Identify the benefits of being you and become an expert. Become an expert of yourself. Become an expert of you. Don't allow someone else to become an expert of who you know who you are. Understand who you are. Understand the benefits of being you. The world does not need another copy. The world needs you. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, and God did not make any mistakes. And in Genesis, everything that God made, He called good. And everything that God called good has never ceased being what He's called it to be. What He called forth in Genesis is still being that in which He called it. Be you, because God created you to be good. Thank you for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you. And log on to anchor.fm/WePower and become a monthly support for our podcast. Thank our supporters for joining us, and we'll see you next Saturday.